Dear students, today I am going to discuss a celebrated poem by Maya Angelou. The name of the poem is And Still I Arise. First of all, about the poet, Maya Angelou, born as Margaret Annie Johnson, was an American memoirist, poet, and civil rights activist. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, and television shows spanning over 50 years. She received dozens of awards and more than 50 honorary degrees. Angelou's series of 7 autobiographies focus on her childhood and early adult experiences. The first, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, published in the year 1969, tells of her life up to the age of 17 and brought her international recognition and acclaim. Introduction to the poem. Still I Rise is one of Maya Angelou's most celebrated poems. Originally published in the year 1978 in Angelou's third volume of verse, And Still I Rise. It shares its title with a play she wrote in 1976 and was written during a highly prolific time in the author's career. By the time Still I Rise was published, Angelou had already achieved recognition for 3 autobiographies in addition to her previous 2 volumes of poetry. Angelo considered this poem a personal favorite and recited it frequently at public readings. She once stated in an interview that she often turned to this poem to empower her during difficult times. Background of the poem. Still I Rise is a poem by the American civil rights activist and writer Maya Angelou. Her real name was Margaret Annie Johnson, born in St. Louis, Missouri on April 4, 1928. The poem appeared in Angelou's third poetry collection, And Still I Rise, in 1978, and is one of her most well known pieces. In general, the poem is an affirmation of oppressed people's dignity and tenacity in the face of persecution. Angelo was known for her writings on blackness and black women. Still I Rise was written during Angelo's involvement in the civil and human rights movement, political engagement, and travel to Africa in the 1970s. These encounters are likely to have given Angelo a close look at many forms of discrimination around the world. During the 1960s and 1970s, Angelo met and worked with some of the most inspiring leaders of the civil and human rights movements. While Angelo watched injustice, she also witnessed the strong spirit of black people uniting in action during the 1970s. Biographical and historical context of the poem. The poem's criticism of anti-black racism aligns with Angelou's life experience and her lifelong activism. As a child, Angelo experienced race-related trauma because of her gender, race, and class. For a time during her childhood, the poet was mute in response to a trauma she experienced, and the support and encouragement of her teacher, Mrs. Bertha Flowers, transformed her life. Thanks to Mrs. Flowers, Angelo began to speak again and to love poetry. Mrs. Flowers placed black female writers like Frances Harper, Annie Spencer, and Jessie Foss amongst while male writers like Charles Dickens and William Shakespeare elevating the stature of the black poets and valuing of black art as equal to that of white mainstream writers and artists. This education informed Angelo's career, and she carried on placing value on black women's experiences and feelings. Throughout her life, Angelo also engaged in activism, though Angelo's politics were not as radical as other writers. Angelo supported different civil rights efforts throughout her life. For example, Still I Rise appeared in an advertising campaign for the United Negro College Fund. Angelo met Martin Luther King Jr. through her work for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. A speech by King in 1960s inspired Angelo to stage the review Cabaret for Freedom, and in 1968 King asked her to organize march. Themes of the poem, like Angelo's autobiographical novels and plays, the poem embraces themes that embody both the African American experiences and feminism, racism, oppression, defiance, and hope. Angelo summons the pain and suffering of her African ancestors and proclaims her determination to cast off the chains of slavery, not just as a black person, but specifically as a black woman in America. She will rise above the negative past and triumph over her detectors. Growing up in the 1930s, Angelo was raised up both her grandmother and mother. Both women were strong willed, self reliant, and most astonishingly successful in business, a remarkable feat for African American women at that time. Nonetheless, Angelo witnessed firsthand their continuous efforts to survive in the face of racism and misogyny. Fueling the defiant tone of Still I Rise, the poet refuses to be tied down by these societal issues and proclaims that she will overcome any obstacles as the powerful woman she knows she is. One of the central themes in this poem is that of oppression. The poet speaks of the legacy of oppression, making reference to the suffering of black people throughout history. She condemns the oppressors, ostensibly white people, with great fierceness. She will make her slave ancestors proud by rising above their suffering and defying the oppressors. The story of racial legacy is that of struggle and overcoming. This poem covers both those ideas. The poet talks about the struggle born out of the of oppression as well as the overcoming rather than giving up. The poet demonstrates a resilient, defiant spirit. The frequent repetition of I will rise illustrates the poet's determination to remain resilient. The oppression faced by the speaker is linked to the history of racism. The fact that the speaker calls herself a black ocean is significant because this is an overt reference to race, showing that the binary between you and I in the poem is linked to a racial distinction. She condemns racism and speaks about a universal idea overcoming prejudice of any kind that transcends geographical boundaries or the color of one's skin. Since the speaker is ostensibly female, an extension of the poet herself, one might argue that sexism is another factor driving the speaker's anger. While much of the figurative language applies to the oppression of black males and females, the stanza which describes the speaker sexiness and provocative dancing implies that she is an empowered female. She condemns the prejudice against her race as well as her sex, and she rebels against any male oppressor by delighting in her sensuality. Summary of the poem. The poem is directed towards those oppressors in society who would tie the speaker to her past and to a history that has been misrepresented and cannot be relied upon. Her ancestors were depicted unfairly and dishonestly in history, and she will rise above the cruelty and suffering they experienced. The speaker is both angry and confident throughout the poem. Initially, she is baffled by the way in which her oppressors, ostensibly white people and specifically white males, do not want her to succeed or become more than the sum of her history. She notes that her joy seems to make them miserable, and she questions why that is. At the same time, she taunts these oppressors, acknowledging the impact of her behaviors and personality and delighting in the fact that she bewilders them with her power and confidence. The poem as a whole is a declaration of strength and determination. The speaker proclaims boldly that whatever her oppressors do to try to hamper her progress or take away her rights, it will not matter. Nobody will ever take her power away, and she will always rise above the racism, pain, and sexism to be the powerful woman she knows she is. She will break the negative cycle of the past. She also speaks on behalf of other black people without actually stating that this is what she is doing. By making references to her ancestors and naming slavery explicitly near the poem's conclusion, she is addressing the collective experience of her people and stating that they, as a race, are more powerful than their oppressors. Whatever the oppressors do, they cannot stop her people from moving forward in their lives. The poet ends her declaration by affirming that no matter what happens, she will continue to rise above history, hate, and bigotry just like her ancestors dreamed would be possible. She will fulfill their dreams and hopes for freedom and happiness. Let's see some glossary here. In the poem, the poet uses several words with specific meaning. Let's look at the screen. Structure of the poem. Still I Rise consists of 9 stanzas, the first 7 of which are quatrains with a clear A, B, C, B rhyme scheme. The poem's final stanzas approximate the same form, but they are less immediately recognizable as quatrains due to the repeated insertion of the phrase I rise as distinct lines. This shift in the formal structure of the stanza reflects a parallel tonal shift in the poem from defiant confrontation to celebration. Throughout the first 7 stanzas, the speaker focuses on confronting and defying oppressive vocal social expectations. She does this by addressing a series of rhetorical questions and declarations to an unspecified you who represents American society of white people at large. Several poetic devices are used in this poem, like a repetition. A refrain of the phrase "I rise" becomes even more prominent in the poem. Parallelism, closely related to the speaker's use of repetition, is her use of parallelism. It is a rhetorical technique that coordinates separate ideas through the repetition of similar wording or phrasing. There are also simile and metaphor, like in the lines 1 to 4. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trot me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. But still, like dust, I will rise. This is the example of simile. So, continue reading the poem. Thank you for the day. Have a nice day.